Thanks once again for dropping by the channel. If you like the content, if you're new to the channel, please hit subscribe, share the video if you enjoyed it, if you felt it was useful. Now let's get into this. So, Dillian Whyte having his say on Deontay Wilder. He's having his say on Deontay Wilder split from Mark Breland. He gave an interview with Sky Sports. Now, I'm going to quote Dillian Whyte here, and yeah, it's not as colourful as some of his other statements have been, over the last few months. Thankfully, we don't need to change any words here. So I'm going to read what Dillian Whyte say here. He said, "I think it is the worst mistake he's ever made. Breland was the only person that didn't care about money or fame. He did the right thing, throwing in the towel. Wilder is an idiot. He can't see it." That's what Dillian Whyte has had to say. End of quote there. What do we make of this? Well, I think he is pretty much spot on. Literally, I really can't argue with anything he said there. See, like, when I do these videos, I try not to say anything too controversial. When I look at Wilder's corner, and it's like, you see that JD's guy in the corner. He doesn't seem like a very nice guy. Now that's how I'm going to call it in this video. He does not seem like a very nice guy, and he doesn't seem like he truly has Deontay Wilder's best interest at heart. He really does look like a guy who was out to get as much money as he can out of a fighter like Deontay Wilder, and then just sail off into the sunset. Because who the hell is he trained? Who the hell has he worked with? He puts on his own shows, I believe, in Alabama. But when you look at the fighters he's trained, like look at Deontay Wilder, like Mark Breland was the guy who gave Deontay Wilder the jab. Like, Deontay Wilder has a decent jab when he uses it. That's a Mark Breland trait. Like, he taught him that, not Jay Deas. Jay Deas is the sort of guy who looks at someone like Deontay or his brother Marcellus, windmilling, swinging, back it up in straight lines, doing ridiculous things that on the first day in the gym a trainer will tell you not to do, and he's like, yeah, that's perfect, that's perfect. He really doesn't appear to be and he's not a stand-up guy. I think that's the best way I can say it on this video, in terms of what I really think. Obviously I'd be yeah. He's not a stand-up guy. That's the best way to describe it. In terms of Mark Breland, when you have when you're in a fight and there is no way in hell you're ever going to get the win. At this stage now, you're starting to get hurt, you're starting to take a beat, you're starting to take one too many shots. The last thing you need is a brave cornerman, a la Joe Gallagher, right? The amount of times I've seen fighters of his take beatings and he's just let it carry on, just casually let it carry on. I see plenty of trainers who, and they're very good in the way they word it. They say to the fighter, it's not you who's quitting. It's not you who's throwing the towel in. I'm doing it for you. Because they know their fighter's not going to win. They know their fighter's taking a beating. They know there's no way for their fighter to come back. So they make the decision as a corner man, and they make a decision which is in the fighter's best interest. I'm not talking about just Mark Breland specifically. I'm talking about plenty of other trainers. And they make the decision to stop the fight, to stop their fighter from getting hurt, because people do get hurt. And at the end of the day, most fighters are warriors. They don't want to quit. I was watching Teofimo Lopez. I'm doing my preparation. I'm doing my little bit of, breaking down for the Lomachenko fight. And I watched his fight against that Japanese guy he fought last summer. And during one of the rounds, they were giving an update on that fighter. I can't remember the guy's last name. Maxim. He's a Russian fighter. He sadly passed away after that fight. And it actually brought back memories of watching that fight, because he wanted to carry on into the 12th round. He was arguing with Buddy McGurk not to pull him out in the 11th round. Buddy McGurk duly pulled him out in the 11th round. He had to. And I just thought, what? This was a fighter who was literally dying, and he wanted to keep going. Fighters need to be safe from themselves. They really do. And, when I look at Team Wilder, Breland was the only guy who was willing to do that. These guys who, big Deontay Wilder up, oh, you're this, you're amazing, you're this. They would have gladly let him get his ass kicked for 12 rounds. And then, gone along with the absurd stories we hear, Glovegate, the suit, all that BS. Whereas Mark Breland was the only one in there who said, no, my fighter's had enough. I'm throwing in the towel. He's been in there. Has JD's ever been in the boxing ring fighting? Ever taken a shot? Well, sure as hell doesn't look that way. You know? So, if what Dillian Whyte is saying here, I think he's spot on. I think that if anything, there are people Deontay Wilder does need to get rid of his team. Mark Breland wasn't one of them. Definitely wasn't one of them. Like, people are saying, who was he going to bring in as a trainer? They're talking about Malik Scott. Who the hell is Malik Scott trained? You know, who the hell is he trained? This was a fighter who had very, very questionable heart in his career. Very questionable. You know, if I was managing Wilder, I'd be saying get Buddy McGurk on the phone and try and get him in. He might be able to do something. But yeah, I touched on it already in the previous video that I think it was a mistake to let Mark Breland go. It is what it is now. Are we surprised? Not really, but you kind of hope that Mark Breland would have been retained, because he's the only person in Team Wilder who doesn't seem to care about the money, who just had Wilder's best interest at heart. And at the end of the day, I don't think Deontay Wilder even wanted to take the trilogy fight. I think he wanted maybe a comeback fight just to get the confidence back up before going to a trilogy fight. But I'm assuming that guys like JD, Shirley Finkel, Al Hamer were just like, the hell with it, take the third fight, cash out, job done. That's what I'm thinking. And I couldn't see Wilder winning the trilogy fight before. You know, I definitely can't see him winning it now. And the problem is, if he ends up taking a similar kind of beating, and he's not got a Mark Breland in the corner, he's just got a JDS or, you know, a Malik Scott. I mean, Malik Scott probably would throw the towel in, to be fair. But would they be so quick to throw the towel in, or would they let him get knocked out? You know, that's my question. So, Dillian Whyte, ever the man with an opinion, having his say on Deontay Wilder. Yeah, I agree with what he says. Very rare I agree with things Dillian Whyte says, but I have to say that's spot on. Dillian Whyte obviously has changed trainer, we know. And people will say, well, look, Dillian Whyte changed trainer, he got knocked out. Dillian Whyte got knocked out because he wasn't listening to his trainer. You know, Xavier Miller was basically saying, do not engage with this man. And what did Dillian Whyte do? He went and engaged with him. So I think Xavier Miller is a good trainer for Dillian Whyte anyway. And obviously having Dave Colwell in there as well is a big help. So if he retains Dave Colwell, I think he should. Even if it's not in a trainer role, just you know, there, an assistant role, you know, there's no harm in that. So, you know, those are my thoughts on this. Hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know your thoughts down below. Smash the like button, please, if you haven't already. As I always say, it really, really, really does help out. It really does. I know it's a cliche for YouTubers to say it, but believe you me, it does help out. Subscribe, of course, if you haven't already. And as always, people, I will talk to you. Stay safe. Peace.